Hello everyone, it's Melanie here with Vintage Heel Studio. Today I'm bringing you a repurposed linens project from an old pillowcase. These were entrusted to me by a friend to do something with. These are the first cards that I made out of the front, and then it had this beautiful tatting on the back. And you can see they're stained and have some character to them, so I don't have any trouble repurposing these into a card. And let me show you how I did this. So I'm starting with this little cling rubber stamp from Inkadinkado, and I'm also measuring out how to cut this up for 5 by 7 inch cards. So I'm just taking a quick look at this. They can't be perfectly symmetrical, and that's okay. So I'm just trying to go through here and get a rough cutout for each of these 3 sections from the back of this pillowcase. And then I will figure out the orientation on my card. So again, the card base this week is going to be 5 by 7 inches, and you can do this in a landscape orientation or you can do it in portrait. So I'm just taking my linens and trying to look at how this would lay out best for my cards. And then when I get ready, I will use this Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. It is a iron-on adhesive, and it is permanent. And you just need to follow the package directions of whatever adhesive you choose to use. I think next time I'll try a spray-on adhesive that is also iron-on. That might work as well. But anyway, I want to give myself a 5 by 7 inch piece of this iron-on adhesive that's going to go on my card front, and then I'm going to follow the package directions. This one happens to have some little bumps on the back, and I know that goes against my material. So just follow the directions on your packaging to see how to adhere this to your linen. So in my case, I've got an old iron. This is not a good iron. This is a craft iron because sometimes you get some sticky residue on these. So use a craft iron or an old iron for some of these projects. Then I'm simply going to place that bumpy side down and follow the directions. My directions said to go over this in like 2-second increments. So I'm adding a little bit of pressure and just going around that, making sure that I get the edges really well. So this is your first step of getting this adhesive put onto your linens. And then after I do that, I let it cool just slightly and I check the edges and the corners. Now down here where there's that tatting, it's a little thicker. I'm going to go over that one more time with my iron, and then I'm going to set this aside to cool completely. Just a few seconds till it's cool to the touch. All right, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. Now I've got 5 inches going across and a little more going up and down. I've got a little more than 7 inches, so I can play with how to adhere this to the front of my card. Because you can see down at the bottom there where the tatting is, I don't have any of that adhesive there because I didn't want that to show from the card front. Right, I will get that thrown away and move on to getting this put onto the front of my card. Now I did use a heavyweight cardstock for my card base because it needs to be able to support this linen. Even though it's not heavy, you do want a heavyweight card base just so your card has a little substance to it. Now you can see here I'm playing with the placement of this tatting along the bottom, and I don't want that to hang over because I need it to go into a 5 by 7 inch envelope. So I'm going right up to the edge with that tatting. And you add a little light pressure here, and my packaging said to go about 8 seconds in each section. So that's what I'm doing here. Giving that a good press, and then I can simply take my scissors and trim off the excess along the top. I'll open up my card and see if I have any excess on the inside as well. All right. Get that cleaned up very quickly. And then I'm almost ready to move on to the fun part of this card, which is decorating the front. First, I'm going to add just a few drops of this permanent liquid adhesive just for this bottom part where I did not have any of the iron-on adhesive. So make sure this stays down pretty well in my card. All right, that's looking good. Now I can move on to decorating the front of this card. So I decided to go with a big stamp and just a brown VersaFine ink. This was the Vintage Sepia. And I'm going to use my stamping platform to help me get a good image of this butterfly on the front of this linen. I wasn't sure how this would stamp, so I wanted to give myself an opportunity to restamp if I need to. And that's where the stamping platform comes in so handy. So I'll get this lined up the best that I can and get that inked up very well. And I just love the sepia color. I think it lends itself well to these old linens. It's just the right shade of a light brown. And this turned out to be a really good stamp, where you feel like there's enough detail in the stamp that you don't really need to do anything else and just let the linen be the star of the show. Now you can see on the body it came out a little bit light, so that's where the stamping platform comes in handy. I can re-ink this and give it another good stamp to kind of increase the intensity of that brown ink. That looks beautiful. All right, and then I'm using the stitched clear stamps from Stampabilities, and the clear stamps allow me to see what this will kind of look like before I actually stamp the image onto the front of my linens. I have a lot of options here, and I actually like this little zigzag looking stamp, so I will go with that. It gives it a stitched effect for sure, hence the name Stitched for this clear stamp set. So I'll simply remove my big butterfly stamp and move on to doing this clear stitch stamp along the top. And this comes along so quickly. This was really a fun card to work on. If you hang in there with me till the end of the video, I'll show you a couple of more cards I did using other stamps. I like the way all of them came out. So I got 6 cards out of these 2 pillowcases. 6 with this back trim and 6 with the front intricate crocheted design. So a total of 12 cards out of 2 pillowcases. I was really honored to be asked to do this. I love the way they came out. They have some sentimental value to the person who asked me to make these pillowcases, and I can't wait to hear what she does with them. So that is the video for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I have done other repurposed linen projects. I'll link to a couple of those at the end of my video. If you're watching from your PC, you'll see where those come up. If you are watching from a mobile phone, please feel free to go over to your PC or the YouTube channel and you can see some of those other repurposed vintage linen projects that I've done. Thank you for stopping by and happy crafting, everyone.